been working on my mind on a cruise video, but this clip came to my attention and I wanted to talk about it first. And I'll probably have another cruise video within the next couple days or early next week at least. You know, I have a lot going on the farm with moving turkeys and all that kind of stuff. And I got a turkey that's loose out in the woods by my house. I'm trying to catch it. Not being very successful at it. But anyway, this clip come along and take it with a grain of salt, because this is not the actual person who was involved. This is the mother of one of the people involved in this incident. So I don't know if the mother got the entire story, and I'm not sure everything comes out. It has to do with Royal Caribbean. And Royal Caribbean is probably not going to release any information regarding this unless they're forced to, because the media picks up on it, which I doubt. There's something more going on than what she says. But let's listen to the story, and then I'll commentary at the end. It's a 9-minute clip of her going on about an incident that happened on Royal Caribbean. One other thing I want to add is I got this clip from a channel called The Ship Life. I ask you to go check out that channel. Subscribe if you like it. He's kind of a younger view of cruising. It's a young guy that used to work in the cruise industry, and now he has a channel dedicated to teaching you about cruising. He has a lot of very good information, and he talks about current things that have to do with cruising. So The Ship Life being one word, The Ship Life. Check that channel out and subscribe and like it for whatever you want to do.
Royal Caribbean is one of those cruise lines who is supposed to have top-notch customer service. Not this week. They failed 4 young passengers terribly. This type of customer service is unacceptable for such a large corporation. This might be a long video because I've got a lot to say about this. My son and his girlfriend were celebrating their birthdays, and they planned an amazing cruise vacation on the most spectacular Royal Caribbean ship, the Wonder of the Seas. Flew across country for this cruise. They arrived early, they got an Airbnb, and on the day of the cruise they arrived at the port terminal around 11 a.m. and they checked in their luggage, and then they started going through the checkpoints. They purchased the Key, which is like a fast pass so they can get priority boarding, along with some other perks like seating at shows and stuff like that. I don't know what all it includes, but they did purchase this extra to be able to get in quickly through the boarding process. They get to the last part of check-in, and there's a young lady at the counter, and she whispers to somebody else something about a note. So my son and his girlfriend are taken to another waiting area, which is kind of off to the side in the terminal, and they're just left to sit there with nobody coming around to tell them what's going on or what's happening. After an hour and a half to 2 hours of waiting, they're approached by a young lady, and she has an orange note in her hand. It has the 800 number for Royal Caribbean along with their booking on it. She says she doesn't know what's going on, but they need to contact their travel agent. So they do. They're on their phone with the travel agent for some time, and she said there must have been a system glitch, and she is contacting Royal Caribbean corporate directly to get it resolved. They think this is great news, so they go up to the guest services desk and they convey the information, and at that point the guest services manager is called over, and he tells them that they will need to have a confirmation email sent from their travel agent to him confirming the information is good. This is the guest services manager. It takes a while for him to finally get the email, but when it comes through, he confirms that he did receive it, and at this point he needs to go check the costs and financials, and he'll get back to them. And they wait some more. They are super confused. Everything's been paid for so far in advance. It's all been removed from the bank account. It's done. It's done and done. So what is there to check? So after some time he comes back and he confirms that the cruise itself is good and paid for, but he's just waiting for an email now from Royal Caribbean. What? If the cruise is good and paid for, what needs to be confirmed? So after about another 30 minutes, he comes back and he says, I don't have much information for you, but you will not be sailing today. Why? They are completely confused. The other two people in their party are on the ship, along with the luggage that was already checked in. My son says, what do you mean? Why not? What's the reason? Why can't we cruise? And all the guest services manager can say is, you can contact Royal Caribbean directly for further information. That all I can tell you today is you will not be sailing and your luggage will be returned to you. And then of course me with my mom mode and them being young adults, I said, did you do something you weren't supposed to do? And they said, no, absolutely not. Everything was good. They didn't take anything on board that they shouldn't have had. So there was no reason. They could give them no reason at all. They're upset. They're frustrated. And they ask about their luggage. At this point in time, it's already 3 in the afternoon. This has been going on since 11 a.m. And the ship is going to sail at 3:30. So they bring a couple of pieces of luggage. They bring 2 of my sons, and they bring 2 of his girlfriends. But one of her pieces of luggage has not been returned yet. They said they're looking for it. It's still in the terminal. She pulls up the app on her phone with her AirTag, and she said, my luggage is on the ship. She offered to give them her phone so they could go map themselves to her luggage to return it. She's got medication in there. She's got valuables in there. She's got her money in there. They refused to take her phone to map them directly to her bag with her AirTag in it. She said you could even beep it and it will tell you exactly where my bag is. It was at that point the guest services manager sent several employees, let's say 3 or 4 or 5, to look for her luggage. And at that point, my son and his girlfriend were escorted out of the port terminal to wait outside for their luggage, and the doors were closed behind them. They said, how are we going to get our luggage? Oh, we'll bring it to you. Shortly after that, they hear the horn of the boat. The ship leaves the port with their luggage and their friends, because their friends were never able to get off because their luggage was still on the ship as well. Now you have 2 young adults standing on the street in an unfamiliar city with no plan and almost no money, because their money is in the luggage that's still on the ship that sailed away. I know. Why did they pack money in their suitcase? Well, they just did. I don't know. I can't answer that. You know, you do what you do. You're packing, you just put stuff in places. You don't plan to get to a cruise port terminal for a cruise that you are booked on. You have your boarding passes, everything's paid, to be turned away. And you have all your documentations, you have your passports, birth certificates, IDs, everything is good. There is no reason to be worried, right? And we like to cruise. We've cruised a bunch. They've cruised a bunch. Not on Royal Caribbean, on another line. Never have had any issues, never an issue at all. And my son just called me and said Royal Caribbean refunded them $250 out of their $4,100 for their room, claiming they were a no-show for their cruise. What? What do you mean no-show? We were there. So they were given an orange piece of paper with an 800 number for Royal Caribbean and their booking number. And they were told to call this number to find out why they couldn't sail. And when they do call, they have no reason. They have no answer for them. And then they say they can only refund them $250 because they were a no-show. Let's not talk about the thousands of dollars that were spent on airfare and Ubers and food prior to getting to the terminal. They got an Airbnb, they got in early. They arrived to Orlando in advance to be on time for this sailing. So they have tons of money tied up in this trip. Royal Caribbean ruined their birthday trip experience. Completely ruined it. And they want to give them back $250? What kind of shenanigans is that? I was very surprised at how the two of them did not get nuts. They were very respectful. All they were asking for was updates. Can we have an update? Can we find out why? What's going on now? And they were not treated with the same kind of respect. From being at the port with the guest services manager, to being given an orange piece of paper with the 800 number, from being locked outside the port terminal. And then when they finally do get home and they contact somebody, they're told that they can only have $250 back out of their $4,100 that they booked for their balcony room because they were a no-show. Yet, the two passengers that are still on the ship went by that room, and another couple came out of it. So I'm wondering, did Royal Caribbean overbook? And they just decided because my son and his girlfriend were young, they could just, you know, boot them out of their room and give them some nonsense explanation? It wasn't even an explanation. So I guess I'll have to make a call to Royal Caribbean corporate office and see what we can get resolved.
Now that is a tragic story, but it doesn't really make a lot of sense that they're just going to say they're a no-show and not pay them, not refund them, because Royal Caribbean has overbooked before. Their computer system is more glitchy than any other cruise line, but it's still rare when it happens. Now, they said that, you know, people came out of the room. That could or could not be true. Sometimes when the cruise ship is full and the doors are closed, sometimes they offer those rooms to an upgrade to some of their loyal customers. That has happened. I know somebody who had a room and then they cruised along. This happened on Carnival, and when the ship was ready to cruise, they got getting ready to leave, and they, you know, closed up the gates and everything. They offered these people a better room. So, you know, because there's always people who don't show up. So even if it was overbooked, they might have still got a room. They may not have got the balcony room. They may have got interior room, one of those rooms with the big windows, a porthole window, whatever, some kind of room. There's all, you know, with the ship, that's the biggest cruise ship in the world, I believe. So it sounds kind of sketchy that they didn't give them anything and they only gave them $250. Because I know there people had problems getting on, even on smaller overbooked ships where there wasn't any rooms, and people got totally reimbursed and even given some extra credits for their next cruise or to book another cruise in the future. They never really pay them extra over the amount that they paid, you know, but they give them those credits to cover their airfare and hotel stays that coincide with their cruise. So that part really doesn't make sense. And, you know, she asked her kid, did you do anything you weren't supposed to? Because she's a mom that asked that. And kids, they're not going to tell their parents if they were doing something illegal that got them in trouble. So, you know, she's getting her kid's story, and I know she believes her kids. We don't know who her kids are. We don't know what kind of people these are or anything. My suspicion, and this is just a suspicion, it doesn't mean that there's any facts or anything related to it. My suspicion is probably had marijuana or some kind of illegal drugs in her suitcase, the one that wasn't returned. Because they offered the air tag, here, you can find it here and all this. And they're like, no. And because and a lot of things were going on secret, like they were whispering to each other. Something went on, and it probably has to do with the suitcase that wasn't returned. There probably, and this is only my theory, that there was something illegal in that. And things that are legal that you can have here in the States aren't necessarily, and most likely not legal on a cruise ship, like Delta 8, Delta 9, THC, some of those products that you can buy here in, even in Alabama, you can buy at convenience stores. But you're not allowed to bring that on a ship. Marijuana is not allowed on any cruise ships, and any marijuana related products. Any product that's made from marijuana is not allowed, even if it's an ointment you put on your skin. Like my wife ordered some of that, pain reliever that you can rub on your skin that has THC in it. Those things aren't legal. Now their dogs may have got set off, or they knew what they were looking for and they saw it in the bag. I believe they found something in that bag. That's why that bag wasn't returned. Why you put all your cash in your bag, like the mother said, they're young, I guess. Something you never do. I usually have a suitcase, and I have my CPAP machine I carry with me, because all medical stuff you need to keep with you, all your medication and all that stuff. So, and I have a backpack I take with me, not, like a big backpack, just a little backpack that I carry my extras, my medicine in there. I carry my extra cash. I usually have it in my wallet. And I carry my wallet on board. Women don't usually have back pockets for wallets, so they put them in their purse or whatever. But you carry that stuff on. Now, I know a lot of people don't like to carry as little stuff on as you can, because you're not going to get your room right away. You don't want to be lugging a bunch of stuff around the ship. It's kind of a pain in the ass to go up to the Lido deck and then have to keep track of all your crap. So, I take a small backpack with all my essentials in it. I'll have sunscreen in there because, who knows how long you'll be able to get to your regular bag. Sometimes it ain't till after you have dinner till your bag gets to your room. Sometimes earlier than that. But, it just depends on the cruise line, how big the cruise is, and if your luggage is the first or last to get inspected and go through. They inspect your luggage, okay? They run them through x-ray machines. They let dogs sniff them, whatever they do. But they do go through your luggage. And I know Carnival's really cracking down on marijuana use, which is going to be the topic of my next cruise video. But this one ties into that, so this is like kind of an intro to that. They could have had medication, fentanyl, or something else, pills that aren't in a prescribed bottle. If you have, my wife brings muscle relaxers on the cruise sometimes, which I hate it because she takes those, and then the whole day I'm by myself because she's in bed the entire day when she's on those. But that, that's not a laughing thing, but I laughed anyway. But anyway, I find this very odd, okay, that Royal Caribbean is going to just give them $250 and say, get on, and you're not getting all your luggage back. That just doesn't make any sense. Royal Caribbean and any of the cruise lines, especially the main ones, Royal, Norwegian, Carnival, MSC, they're all very good. They got a very good system, and they know what to do in those situations. This isn't their first rodeo. They do this every day. They're at that terminal. That terminal probably has several Royal Caribbean ships that probably one every day that comes out of there, or most days, with the same crew. That I don't know if some of the crew comes off the ship, and there's some that work at the port. But they know what to do, okay? They're very organized. They got a whole mess of people to get through, and they've worked out a system, and they've been doing this for years. So just doesn't it doesn't add up. 1 and 1's supposed to make 2. 1 and 1 doesn't make whatever this makes. There's some information that's not being said, and this is just passed on from the kid's mother. So she's making a video based on the information she got from her son, and not necessarily from Royal Caribbean. You can talk to Royal Caribbean, I'm sure, because I've talked to Carnival. We've had to work things out with Carnival. The only thing is you got to have a lot of patience because you'll be on hold for... I've been on hold with Carnival for 45 minutes, and I think even longer. I can't really remember. We had an issue we had to take care of because we booked a cruise out of Mobile, Alabama on the Ecstasy, and that ship was... Royal Caribbean got rid of that ship, so it was no longer sailing. So we were given a cancellation and our money back, and we wanted to book another cruise, and you know, during that same time period. So we had to, and we were on hold forever, and we got that situation figured out. The cruise companies are very good about helping you out through these kind of situations. They're not going to just like, well, we overbooked, so we're just going to give these people $250 and send them on their way. No, if they overbook, you get the full refund. Most times you don't get a full refund, but if they overbook the cruise, and Royal Caribbean's the only one they've known that's done that, you get your full refund. I got to turn my screen back on because it goes off, because you know I got to move that mouse around, I guess, when I'm talking, so it doesn't do that. But there's just something odd about this whole situation. And my theory is that probably some marijuana product that they thought was okay, but the cruise line said it wasn't. And they're not going to give they're probably holding on to a luggage, that one piece of luggage, probably giving it over to authorities. Because they go through and they find some kind of illegal substance in there and a bunch of money. They're going to turn over to the police. They're not going to turn it over to you. If they think it's something illegal, you know, that's the thing. If it was nothing, they would have got that, because they could have got it. I mean, they're right there at the terminal. They just send someone onto the ship and go to where all the luggage are and find it. You know, I know it's the biggest ship out there. They could still find that piece of luggage. Okay. So that's what I find suspicious. And why they only got the $250 to send them on their way, refunded, makes me think there's more to it than just an overbooking. I mean, technically, if they overbooked their room, they could have put him in a lesser room. You know, if that was it, that was the only problem. Oh, your room was overbooked. Well, there's bound to be a room that every cruise, there's somebody who doesn't show up to the cruise. Someone has a flat tire on the way there, or a family emergency and they have to not go on their cruise. There's always last minute things that happen, especially on the largest cruise ship. I guarantee you on that cruise ship there were some empty rooms. Guaranteed. There were some people didn't show up for that cruise, or that cruise wasn't fully booked, they just overbooked their room. You know, they could have gotten a lesser room. So there's a reason why they didn't work those things out. There's something to that story that isn't being told. That's all I got to say. So you guys have a good day, and better tomorrow, and put down in the comments what you think.